Yeah, but definitely the Age Well range is really, really good. Like I have two ranges currently on the go, the Age Well and the Brightening, and I absolutely adore them both. But I use the body care products, like so the shower gels. So I've got a little one, which is a concentrated shower gel. So that's about £5.60, something like that. It comes in either apple fragrance or apricot, and that's really lovely. And that's pretty much my everyday one. And then I have one by Arbonne Botaniques, which is, I think, is papaya. And that just gives me, when I use that one, it makes me feel like I'm on holiday because it has a beautiful papaya fragrance, like tropical. And then when I got this yesterday, the detox wash, I thought, you know what? I'm not going to use it every day, but I'm going to use it once a week. So it's going to last me forever. Like you can see how big the box is, right? It's 237 ml. It's going to last me for ages if I'm using it once a week. It's like a spa treatment, a bit of luxury at home. You know what I mean? You've got the exfoliator, the moisturizer, and the body wash. You can just lock yourself away in the bathroom, light some candles, take that time for yourself, and it smells divine because it's jam-packed full of essential oils. You know, there's no nasty ingredients in there. Your skin feels silky smooth. You can feel how luxurious it is on your skin. So like literally I've got currently 3 shower gels, as it were, or body washes on the go, but one's a daily basis, one's when I need that holiday vibe, and that one there, it'll be a once a week luxury. Take that extra time in the shower as opposed to flying in and flying out within 30 seconds. You know what I mean? It's just that bit of extra time. Because I don't have time to go for a spa day one day a week. I really don't. I don't have 7 hours one day a week to go for a spa. I don't have the finances to go for a spa one day a week right now.
Have a shower,
but you take that kind of half hour, if you want to, an hour, whatever it is, whether it's a bath, whether it's shower, and just kind of exfoliate, moisturize, just take that bit more time, maybe do a meditation in the shower, just be mindful in the moment. So it just works really, really well. Come out, have a nice cool drink with some lemon in. Maybe have the one with ashwagandha, the drink before bed. So that is absolutely amazing. That's the Be Calm drink. And that's great because ashwagandha helps you sleep. Yeah. This is stuff that I wish I knew 7 years ago. So I'm just going to go, quickly into Facebook just to show you a picture, if I can get it from my memory. So the picture was taken see that top picture?
Can't see very well, vaguely.
It's a bit vaguely. I'll probably send it to you, but the top picture is of me 7 years ago yesterday on top of the hills. Okay, like I'm skinny, I wasn't eating properly, I was just a bit of a mess. And that was like July the 13th, 2014. And shortly after that, in the September, was when I decided to quit drinking. So prior to this, I was eating takeout food quite a lot, and I put a bit of weight on, and I didn't like how I looked, and I was drinking, and I was just like, ugh, just don't like it. So it wasn't much weight, but you know, when you have that belly pooch and stuff like that. So I cut down on the food that I was eating, but I was really, really stressed. I had a very stressful job at the time. I was in a stressful situation in my personal life. And so when I'm stressed, I default to not really eating much at all. And I didn't realize until I started working with PT, I was eating less than 1,000 calories a day. But then I was drinking on a night still to help me deal with the stress. But not consistently, not every night, not drinking to get drunk, but just kind of take the edge off. It's like numbing effect, if you will. And then it wasn't until September that I thought, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. It was about September the 4th. I just no, I don't like it. I don't want to do it. And I just made the decision that I'm not going to have takeout 2 or 3 nights a week, and I'm not going to be drinking most nights, I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to take control of my health. I want to live a long and healthy life, and this isn't the route. And I've fallen into this, and I was unconsciously falling into it, and I didn't want to fall further. And that's when I chose to step out. It was like my first stage of my awakening. So then I started working with a PT and started looking at my health and well-being and putting good food in, and didn't want to sabotage that by drinking or eating bad food. But what I wished I'd known then that I know now was much more about how nutrition is really important, and how, how meditation is important, how mindfulness, gratitude, being out in nature, looking for natural ways to help you wind down at the end of the day. What can you do to take those stresses out? Like ultimately, I did take myself out of the stressful job. I took myself out of the stressful relationship. But it's looking at what other ways, because usually when people are drinking to excess, they're either blocking something, or they're pretending something doesn't exist, or they're escaping something. They're not doing it night after night for fun because they're enjoying it, because it's not enjoyable. If they dig right down, it's not really that, is it? And so I went on an epic journey of personal development and just poured myself into a ton of personal development books and podcasts and everything. But I just wish I had somebody to guide me and to help me, because I did it alone. You know what I mean? And I didn't have the support in the beginning, and I tried to bring my husband along for the ride, and that was met with resentment, and it was tough. So having that support network around is absolutely amazing. So I can see how your group would absolutely massively help. But when it comes to the nutrition, I wished I'd known about Arbonne 7 years ago when I quit drinking.
Mm-hmm. And you must have saw a lot of yourself in me then, when we first met, because I know you were, what are you doing? And I said, well, the kefir, and I explained you the kefir was really helpful, because it's all about your good health when you explain about it.
Oh my God,
Tell me that, because I was on the right track, and then I'm pleased I met you when I did, but talk me through the good health, because this is really helpful. We'll use this.
Yeah, so good health is absolutely key, and this is going to be part of my program that I'm currently doing. And I've learned an awful, well, I've learned quite a lot. There's so much more to learn about gut health, but the simple act is like, I don't even know where to start with this. For example, if you're a meat eater, okay, so you're eating the meat and you think you're doing really, really well and you're eating healthy. What we need to do is we need to stop and think about where that meat is coming from, how high produced that meat is. And bear in mind, I am a meat eater. I'm not vegetarian or vegan or anything like that. I'm a meat eater. So we need to think about where that meat is coming from, how it's being produced, and how that animal was treated beforehand. Because quite often, the animals that we end up eating have been injected with things like antibiotics, growth hormones, and various different things, and those end up in our body. Now, even if we just take the antibiotics and nothing else, so if these animals have been given antibiotics to help them overcome illnesses, which is great, we then build up antibiotic resistance because we're consuming second-rate antibiotics that pass through this animal. So therefore, our gut health is going to be compromised if we don't have enough good gut bacteria in our body to fight off infection, and then we're eating animal products which has been treated with antibiotics. When we do need a course of antibiotics, they're not going to be as effective. Right. Secondly, when we do have antibiotics just destroy a plethora of bacteria within your gut, the good and the bad, right? So you take the antibiotics, your infection clears up, and you think, oh, that's great. But if you think about that good bacteria that's been destroyed in your gut is now leaving you vulnerable again to infection. So I always advise on taking a probiotic. Now, I take one absolutely every single day, and I have done for a couple of years now. And incidentally, I haven't had antibiotics for about 5 years. But I take a probiotic absolutely singly every day. But even if you don't want to do that, commit to taking a probiotic for 2 months after a course of antibiotics. Probiotics put that good bacteria into your gut. which helps with your energy, it helps with your digestion, it helps with your immunity. Like everything starts with your gut health. If your gut health is off, so many other things will be off in your life. So it's really, really key that you look after your gut health.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, like taking a daily fiber supplement, take a probiotic on a daily basis, making sure that you're getting good quality protein, whether that's from a vegan source or from a meat source. Be mindful where your food comes from. You know, you look around, you look down any high street now or any town, there is an absolute abundance of takeaways. If you had the chance to tot up how many takeaways there are in your town, how many, well, fast food joints, I won't name names, fast food joints, pizza places, kebab places, the whole shebang. And then go around and look at how many fruit and veg shops are there, or how many organic food shops are there. The ratio is ridiculous, isn't it? And so it's just being really, really careful about your gut health. Like this body that you've got is to carry you from birth right to the very end, and you want to kind of go sliding into the end like full of energy and as old as you possibly can and having lived a wonderful life, but you want it to be healthy. You don't want to be living a long life and living most of it unhealthy. If you can impact your health and improve it in just 1%, do it. And then the next day, if you can improve it 1% and more, do that. But literally, it's mind, body and soul. It's all intertwined.
And how is your life different now compared to what it was 7 years ago then? Because I know you got your husband on board, didn't you? Because
I did. Yes, totally got my husband on board. So 4.5 years ago, my husband did come on board. And I honestly, between now and 7 years ago, I don't even recognize that woman, like at all. So, you know, I give up. I cut down the drinking 7 years ago, and I quit drinking 2.5 years ago. So I had drinking on special occasions, maybe only having 1 or 2 glasses of wine on those special occasions, or maybe a little gin. But then 2.5 years ago, it was January 26, 2019, and I was in Oxford, and I had a glass of wine in a hotel. It fell through the floor, the price of it. And that was it. I hadn't, at that point, consciously decided, oh, I'm never going to drink again. It was just, I'm not really enjoying this. I don't even know why I'm doing it. And it was just like that 1 glass of wine, that's all I had. And so I just didn't bother after that, because I felt my life is in such a place where I don't need to escape anything. I love my life. You know, I don't live for the weekend or anything. I love every day. Every single day is a blessing, and I love every day. So I didn't need to drink to escape anything. Didn't need to drink to block anything out. I don't like drinking to get drunk because I don't like hangovers. And to be fair, I'm pretty useless once I have had a drink. I just tend to have 2 drinks and fall asleep and miss everything. Like throughout my life, there is photographs of me at parties asleep. Everyone else is dancing around. It's New Year, there's fireworks going off, there's so much noise, and I am just asleep. I am like, I miss everything. So what was the point? What was the point? So there's just no need. So January 26, 2019, I decided I wasn't going to, that's it, no more drinking, and I'll just see how far I go. And 2.5 years down the line, I haven't had not 1 drop. And I don't want to, I don't miss it. You know, I have alternatives, and it's just, you know, why I was drinking in the first place. You know, it didn't truly control my life. I mean, there was a point where I was drinking most nights when I was on a stressful job, but I don't recognize that woman, and I have so much more energy, just so much more love, so much more positivity. I believe that when you cut the drink out of your life, it wakes you up, and you cut out so many other things as well. It just there's a radical shift, an absolutely radical shift.
There is, isn't there? It's amazing. It is. It's like a gift that just keeps giving, isn't it? It's like a secret, but we're not keeping it a secret anymore. We're sharing the sober joy. And it just gives an overview of your journey And you really remind me of Engaged Elsie, because it wasn't like a rock bottom. There's no need for there to be a rock bottom. It's just you want something to change, and
No,
it's just you're the only one that can do it, aren't you? That's the thing. And a lot of the time, women stay stuck because
that is
they're not quite bad enough. But you're bad enough for what you don't need. And this isn't when you didn't need to go to AA, or you didn't need to go and speak to your GP. It was just something that was no longer working for you. And you had the sense to look and go, well, actually, why am I doing it?
yeah. It was really like I was at a party, like we'd had a conference that day, you know, there was loads of us there, and I was just like, I don't even know why it's in my hand. I have no desire for it. And that was it. That was my very last drink. It's just, and it honestly is that it's one of the best things I've ever done. The very fact that my husband, you know, came on board sooner. We were taking a sabbatical, shall we say, at his time when he stepped away from alcohol, and that was 4.5 years ago. So that was January 2017 when we were kind of taking a break, and that's when he had his, and he just went stop. And again, if I look back at the photographs of the person he was, I don't even know who that man is. I don't recognize myself, and I also don't recognize him, because he was drinking every night. He was getting drunk every night. And then one day he just had his moment of awakening, and he was just like, I'm pressing the self-destruct button, and I know it's just going to go down if I don't stop. And he just went to the doctors. The doctor said, well, you know, you could go to AA. He said, but I think you know what you need to do, so I'm not going to refer you, and I think you can do it by yourself. And he totally did. He just stopped. He was a man that was sedentary. He would have a physical day job. He would come home and just be sedentary. And now he rides a minimum of 20 miles every day on his push bike, and like on his motorbike, his motorbike and his push bike, and he goes like off-road, so down hills and stuff like that, at least 20 miles every day. On a weekend, he lifts weights 6 days a week. You know, he walks for miles and miles and miles with me, like whereas before he just wouldn't. He is Mark 2. His name's Mark, and this literally he is Mark 2. He is version 2 of this. Is the man that I knew was inside the other one. It's phenomenal, honestly. And when I look at him now, how healthy he is, like he's 50 this year, and he is just so healthy, so healthy. You know, he eats well, drinks lashings of water. He takes care of his cardiovascular system. He takes care of his strength. He takes care of his mind. And our relationship has never been better. Our relationship right now is the kind of stuff that you see in a movie that you think isn't real. And that, like, it's just phenomenal. I'm just so in love. It's just amazing. It's just absolutely fantastic. He's just done so well. I'm so proud of him, and long may it continue. Like, we both can't believe we were there. And that's just like, you would never ever go back. You would never ever go back. And it's just a beautiful life. It really, really is.
You got me crying.
Bless.
Oh, that's lush, isn't it? And you just think like how many relationships have broken down and just gone their separate ways because they didn't think, you know, for a long time I had my husband as the enemy, and it wasn't him, it's the alcohol, isn't it? It's God, and it's just feeling that hopelessness of like, oh, you know, you've been drinking, and then they'll feel like they've let you down, and it just gets in such a knot, and it's not necessary. It's really important to take that step away, isn't it? Because you can't turn it around.
It is. Like, when we were both drinking, I would drink by default because I would come home from work. He would get in from work sooner than me, and I'd get home from work and he'd already had a couple of drinks. I'd come in at 7 o'clock, he'd already had a couple of drinks. I'd be like, oh God. And so I would then have a drink. This is going to sound atrocious. So it would take me less.
I totally understand.
So I would do that, or I would walk in, he'd go, there you are, darling, I've poured you a glass of wine, and he would be cooking dinner, and I would just like, I didn't really want it, but I will drink it, because it would numb my nerves and you won't irritate them so much. And so I was like falling into that pattern. I was drinking because he was drinking, because I didn't want to be annoyed, and
he was drinking.
Yeah. So I was tagging in. I was like getting suckered along, and I was like, I don't want to do this. So it wasn't until 2014 that I found the courage within myself to go, no, that's it. I'm not going to be drinking every night. So, I took myself out of the stressful job. I started going to the gym, started putting good nutrition in. And at that point in 2014, I cut my drinking right down to special occasions only.
Was he still drinking then? So it would have been probably pushed you to say no more. You kind of just changed, which was probably hard to do that and keep the drinking. I tried to do that for ages, and I kept pulled back. So for me, I couldn't do both. I had to say stop with that. I couldn't do a little bit of it. I had to do all or nothing.
Yeah, so for me, doing a little bit, I thought, if I choose and I stand my ground and go, right, no more, and I'm going to take care of my health, and I thought maybe he'll come along with me, and if I don't completely stop the drinking, but if I just drink on occasion, he might come with me on the journey. But he didn't. And as my journey into health became healthier and healthier and healthier, he continued to do the thing. So we were just moving apart.
I was going to say, was that not a hard space in your relationship when you had making the breakaway?
Yeah. It was very hard. And, ultimately in 2016, after 2 years of going like that, because I was getting healthier and healthier and he was not, and he wasn't coming with me, and we were just miles apart. In 2016, we did, like I say, we took a break from each other for 2.5 years, something like that. And I continued on that health journey and kind of cut my drinking down even more. And maybe it's only drinking once every 3 or 4 months, something like that, only having a couple of glasses of gin or a glass of wine. But it was in 2017, so it was about 5 or 6 months after parted ways. He'd kind of gone down a little bit more, and then he had that awakening moment in January when he decided he had to do something for himself, because it wasn't going to get any better. And what he'd done in January was what I was imploring him to do for years beforehand, but I wasn't helping. It was a codependent relationship. You know what I mean? I was tolerating it, and it's because I was always tolerating it. He was always doing it because I wasn't nagging. He was always doing it.
Really hard, because you don't want to be the fun police, because I have played with that. I've played that game before, and I've said, right, no, this isn't, you have to stop. But I was continuing to drink, but he was drinking, in my mind, too much. So it was like, we'll still drink, but don't you drink too much. And I was trying to police it. And it was exhausting, because I don't want to be the fun police. And many other people don't want to have that role. I've got 2 boys. I didn't want 3. I didn't want another child to look after. So you've got to kind of let people come to the conclusion themselves. And it's really hard, isn't it?
And that was the hardest thing. So when we took that time apart, he had that 5-6 months by himself, and then he realized, oh my God, I need to do something. And he made the switch by himself, and I wasn't in the picture. And because I wasn't there, we weren't there together in a codependent relationship, he made the decision for himself, and took his life in a brand new, whole new direction. Like, prior to this, he had no bucket list. Like, I remember turning 40. So this is in my 41st year when I kind of cut down the drinking back in 2014. But I remember I got a book for my 40th of things to do now you're 40, and just like fun stuff. And so I talked to him about a bucket list at that time, and he didn't have one. I was like, isn't there things that you want to do? Like, I said, I want to rock climb, I want to abseil, I want to try fencing, I want to go try archery, and all these different things. And he was just like, no. I felt part of me at that point in my 40th year just die a little. I thought, was this it? Like, I go off and do these things and you sit on the couch, or I don't do these things and we both just sit on the couch. Like, this isn't life. Our girls are growing up now. They were teenagers, late teenagers, early 20s. I was like, oh no. But since his days of quitting alcohol, he's done 3 parachute jumps, 2 assisted, 1 by himself. He's learned to fly a plane. He's done zip wire, to play the drums. He's ridden a horse. Like, he used to be terrified of horses. You know what I mean? He took up mountain biking. He now has like 2 mountain bikes and 1 road bike. And, you know, he lifts weights like all the time. In 2014, when I was going to the gym and lifting weights, and he was just not interested, he adores it. So there is so much more life to be had outside of the alcohol. So much more.
Oh, well done, because you've influenced him so much. It's so cool what you've done, isn't it? And you got to think about the respect you must have for him now, because when you think about that guy sitting on the sofa, you just think, oh,
yeah.
You know, and then when they come back and they've got the wind in their hair, you're like, oh, it makes you feel alive again, doesn't it? And but it's hard to light a fire under that, isn't it? So what would be your top tip to somebody who's got one of them sitting on the sofa? How do you light that fire under them? You've got to just do your own path, haven't you? You've got to push through yourself.
You've got to push through yourself. I mean, it wasn't until I was having therapy that I realized that my relationship that we had been in was codependent. So, you know, we split up in 2016, and it wasn't until 2018 that I was having therapy, and my therapist mentioned, and I was like, oh God, I was contributing to this shit.
No.
You know what I mean? I was like, oh my God. So, like, first of all, so go deep within yourself. So do that personal development on you and decide what it is that you want for your life and who you want to be with you in it. So I knew that deep down in Mark, there was the Mark that I've got today. I knew it was in there. He didn't know. Men are just slow to catch up, aren't they?
You could see it, yeah.
Oh, I could see it. Yeah, I have like incredible vision and I could see it, but he couldn't. But make sure that you're not in that codependency, that you're not contributing to that thing. You know what I mean? You're not the one bringing in the alcohol, going to the kitchen and pouring him another drink. Like, if he's sitting there drinking, or your partner, maybe it's a she that's sitting there drinking. You know what I mean? So if your partner's sitting there drinking and you don't really want them to, don't contribute. Don't get up and pour the drink. Don't go out and buy more drink. Don't put it in the trolley when you go shopping, because that is contributing to the behavior that you don't want them to do. Because then you'll send them mixed messages. If you buy them a bottle of wine and then you moan about them drinking, it's like giving kids sweets and then tell them to not eat them. You can't do that. So you make sure that your message is clear and succinct. And then, you know, show them what other opportunities lie around outside of drinking. So do something different, break the habit. If they normally come in and sit down on the sofa and open a glass of wine or a can of beer or something, suggest you do something different. Yeah, move the sofa, burn it. Get rid of the television. You know, do something different, break the habit. Even if you just breaking the habit 2 or 3 nights a week, just make that. Yeah. Just start small if you have to.
And try to find out what motivates them. Because remember, what motivates you is completely different than what motivates them. My husband is heavily motivated by his tummy. He likes food, so you could seduce them with something else, you know. Instead of saying, don't have that and just let's eat salads, you know. It's about small steps, isn't it?
It is. Absolutely.
Well done, Karen.